Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Austin Parry Show. I'm your host, Austin Parry, and this is Monday, May 17th, 2021, episode 38. I took a few days off over the weekend. I felt they were well deserved. I enjoyed myself. We had nice weather here in Tampa, Florida. It was very cool, low humidity, and I hope you guys had a great weekend as well. And here on the Austin Parry Show, this is where we strive for greater consciousness and enlightenment. And I hope that I can bring you a laugh and a smile. And ladies and gentlemen, please visit my website, which is austinparry.org, and that's spelled P-A-R-R-Y. That's where you can support my video content into the future and find all of my work. Check it out, I think you'll really like it. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into tonight's show. We have a jam-packed episode. We have a lot of interesting topics to talk about. And the first bit of information that we have comes from the New York Times. And we have this article here which reads, China's Mars rover mission lands on the red planet. And once again, this is from the New York Times. And in case you missed it, ladies and gentlemen, China has landed on Mars. They have a rover that has landed on Mars, and this makes them one of the very few countries in the world that have successfully landed a craft on the surface of the red planet. And let's go ahead and read here. The success establishes China as a principal contender in what some see as a new era of space competition. And let's go ahead and read down below, and here you can see the image of the artist's interpretation of what the Chinese spacecraft which landed on Mars would look like. The United States now has company on Mars. A Chinese spacecraft descended through the thin Martian atmosphere and landed safely on a large plane on Saturday morning, state media reported, accomplishing a feat that only two other nations had before. In the United States, it was still Friday, 7:18 p.m. Eastern Time when the spacecraft touched down. The landing follows China's launch last month of the core module of a new orbiting space station, as well as a successful mission in December that collected nearly 4 pounds of rocks and soil from the moon and brought it to Earth. Next month, the country plans to send 3 astronauts into space, inaugurating what could become a regular Chinese presence in Earth's orbit. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it from the New York Times reporting on how China is extending its reach into space and is becoming a contender for space supremacy against the United States, which is the leading contender right now. And I didn't even know that they collected so much soil and rocks from the moon's surface. I knew that they landed on the moon's surface just recently. But I didn't realize that they just went to Mars as well with a lander, and they are also constructing their own space station, which is going to be similar to the ISS, but it's actually China's own orbiting space station. And who knows how many other space stations that they have orbiting that are just secret government projects that are classified. And so that's very interesting. We, the United States here, have naval supremacy. We definitely control the waterways. We have the best aircraft carriers and the best battleships and destroyers. And we definitely have air supremacy and superiority because we have the best fighter jets and the best reconnaissance jets, so on and so forth. We have the best aircraft. We have the best helicopters, everything. And we also have space superiority because we have the best spacecrafts and satellites. Well, now China is contending with the U.S. For space superiority. And they are landing on Mars, they're landing on the moon. And so this is very interesting, very fascinating, very thought-provoking, very intriguing. And let's go ahead and move on to the next article that we have here tonight. And this comes from Infowars.com, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Alex Jones Show. A very credible, very trustworthy show. Alex Jones reporting about how the NIH own employees are not taking the vaccine. So Fauci's own doctors, nurses, scientists, and other workers of his own organization, only about half of them are taking the vaccine. The other half are refusing. So let's go ahead and watch this video here, ladies and gentlemen.
Information has now come to light that destroys the official COVID narrative and that proves once and for all these vaccines are not safe and that the public should not be forced to take them. On Friday, Fauci testified to Congress, and what he said was a bombshell, but it got almost no coverage in the press. He reported that only a little more than half of the doctors and nurses and scientists in the federal government at the NIH and CDC have taken the so-called COVID-19 vaccines, despite the fact they were the first group who was able to get it more than 6 months ago.
What percentage of the employees in your institute, your center, of your employees has been vaccinated?
You know, I'm not 100% sure, Senator, but I think it's probably a little bit more than half, probably around 60%.
Dr. Marks?
I can't tell you the exact number.
Let that sink in for a moment. Close to half of the federal government's medical corps, from the top right down to the bottom, have refused to take the COVID-19 so-called vaccinations, despite the fact that they've been intimidated and bullied and even been threatened with their jobs. I was told 6 months ago, when they started the COVID-19 vaccine rollout here in the U.S., that after the adverse...
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Alex Jones reporting and showing you the video of Fauci actually saying himself that only around half of his own employees in his own organization have taken the actual COVID vaccine. And so that seems like a hypocrisy where Fauci thinks that all of the US should be vaccinated, but yet the employees at his own organization, the doctors, scientists, nurses, and other workers, only half of them are taking it, and the other half are refusing to take it. So there you have it, Alex Jones from InfoWars reporting on this. Very credible, very reliable, very trustworthy news source. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here. And this comes to you from STAT. S-T-A-T. That's the website. And let's go ahead and read the topic of this article. First human pig chimeras created, sparking hopes for transplantable organs. And there you can read the title of the article right there. And let's go ahead and read this. Pig embryos that had been injected with human stem cells when they were only a few days old began to grow organs containing human cells, scientists reported on Thursday, an advance that promises or threatens to bring closer the routine production of creatures that are part human and part something else. These pig-human chimeras were not allowed to develop past the fetal stage, but the experiment suggests that creations could eventually be used to grow fully human organs for transplant. So, ladies and gentlemen, they're saying that they terminated these after the fetal stage. And let's see if there's an image here. Doesn't look like, oh, there you have it. There is the image of the embryo, ladies and gentlemen. And this is part human, part pig. It has DNA from both. They say that they terminated it before it grew past the embryonic stage. It is possible that it could grow into a fully developed fetus and even an actual adult. And this is real life, ladies and gentlemen. They're actually making human-animal hybrids. This is evidence of it right here. I encourage everyone to research these topics for yourself. Don't trust me. Look into it for yourself and do your own research. But I can tell you they are definitely making human-animal hybrids. This is the image right here of the human-pig chimera embryo. And so it's very fascinating, very thought-provoking, very intriguing. And I encourage everyone to do some research into these claims that I'm making here. And let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. And ladies and gentlemen, this is very fascinating. Here we have a video of an amateur astronomist who has a telescope, and he is recording video through his telescope, and he has actually captured the International Space Station traveling in front of the moon. So he has a close-up shot on the moon, and then he films as the ISS transposes itself across the surface of the moon. So let's go ahead and watch this video here. Oh, there you can see it. Slow motion. Whoa! Look at that. That sucker's booking. So there you have it, and I think you get some close-ups. Yeah, here we go. Let's look at this one. And there he is zooming in on it. Ladies and gentlemen, there it is. That is a photo through his telescope of the ISS passing across the lunar surface. In front of it, I should say. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the ISS as observed through an amateur telescope and recorded into video format. And that is just amazing. I really love stuff like that. That's so cool. So let's go ahead and move on now to Tucker Carlson, the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, Tucker Carlson, the great. And let's go ahead and see what he had to say 2 days ago. This is what Tucker was talking about on his show, and let's go ahead and watch.
We've interviewed a number of experts on the show, people familiar with footage in the possession of the U.S. military, who have said there is tape out there of unidentified flying objects descending from the sky and then disappearing into the ocean. Well, today, that video emerged. The Pentagon has just confirmed that the footage is real. You're seeing it now on your screen. It was taken by the Combat Information Center on board the USS Omaha on July 15th, 2019, off the coast of San Diego. As far as we know, the UFO in question was never recovered. There was no material indicating a crash. More than that, we don't know. Tom Rogan is a Washington Examiner columnist, well-versed in the subject. He joins us tonight. Tom, what do you think we're looking at here?
Well, I think we may well be looking at a true unknown, which is to say intelligently controlled machinery that is not understood to be in the possession of the United States, China, or Russia, which are the three most advanced countries in terms of military aviation. And so, you know, the video in and of itself is limiting what it can tell us, but I think it speaks to, as the Pentagon itself has admitted, this continuing trend of truly unexplained things coming into the public consciousness more than they have before.
If you listen to this with the sound up, you can hear the guys who are monitoring this video in real time gasp when it seems to disappear beneath the waves. So this kind of takes the weather balloon off the table, or some meteorological phenomenon off the table. I mean, clearly we're looking at something that is, as you just put it, being intelligently controlled, and it's going underneath the ocean and then disappearing. I mean, we're sure that this could not be a foreign nation.
Yeah, that is the, yes, and that is why you see people like Senator Rubio leaning into the subject, the military, Office of Naval Intelligence, which really leads the military effort researching this, There isn't anything that we have top secret information about what China or Russia have, or what we have at Area 51 that can do what these things do in terms of the variable performance. And I think specifically relevant to this video, in the coming months and years, an area which we will learn more about is the interaction of US Navy submarines, nuclear ballistic missile submarines and attack submarines, picking up sonar contact of things moving at hundreds of knots under the water. And so there is an undersea dimension to this that the Navy has sort of pushed off to the side as the pilots talk more about their experiences. So there's a lot more to come out, I think, is the best way to put it.
Hundreds of knots underwater. I mean, I think all of us can imagine objects moving at incredible speeds in the air, maybe even approaching, right, the speed of light, potentially. But hundreds of knots underwater, I don't think most people can even digest that. That's been recorded?
That's what I've heard from sources, very good sources, and that the Navy has the data. And one of the big things, Tucker, that I think as we move towards this Director of National Intelligence report, and I do know that the various agencies are actually taking that more seriously than people might expect, as is DNI. One of the things we're going to find is that over a period of decades, a lot of the data, a lot of the measurement of these things has been put off as technical aberration or essentially a data malfunction, because they didn't want to really admit that something very serious and special is going on.
I mean, some of this behavior challenges our understanding of physics, so I think this is going to change a lot of perceptions. Tom, I appreciate it. I hope we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Tucker.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to...
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Tucker Carlson reporting on how UFOs are actually flying through the air and then descending to the surface of the water and then submerging into the water, ladies and gentlemen. So imagine you could combine your fastest attack submarine, which can probably go 55 knots underwater, I would say, would be a very fast speed for a submarine. I could be a little bit off on that. That's just off the top of my head guess. But say you could combine a very state-of-the-art, top-of-the-line attack submarine, the fastest of the fleet, 55, 60 knots, 70 knots underwater, super fast. Say you could combine that with, say, an F-22 fighter jet. So it is one of the best air superiority model fighter jets combined with one of the best attack submarines. That is what you're looking at essentially here in this video that we just watched on the Tucker Carlson show. But essentially it is actually hovering, which would give it even enhanced capabilities over the F-22 fighter jet. So this is unknown. It is something that, according to the expert that was featured on the Tucker Carlson show, definitely is not something from China or Russia. Because according to what is publicly known, nothing has that capability to where it can fly and hover and then submerge itself and go underneath the water surface. And so, like he was saying, variable performance, that is very fascinating. And it's thought to be alien technology, and that's probably a real UFO video that the Pentagon has confirmed is a real video and not a fake video. And so there you have it. It seems as though aliens are being brought to the forefront. Talks of aliens and UFOs are becoming more mainstream. And I can foresee this as being a theme or a trend into the future, ladies and gentlemen. And I think that the aliens are probably already among us. They are just waiting for the right moment to expose themselves to us. And I think we may be going through a phase where a lot of this information is being brought out and light is being shed onto it. And so we may be in a time here where aliens might introduce themselves to humans very shortly, very soon. And so here on the Austin Parry Show, we're trying to get ahead of things and get a step up on everybody else by analyzing these topics and talking about them. And seeing what could potentially happen in the future. And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the Austin Parry Show for tonight here on this Monday, May 17th, 2021, episode 38 edition. Ladies and gentlemen, that does it here for the Austin Parry Show, where we strive for expanded consciousness and enlightenment. And everybody have a great night. We will see you tomorrow night on the Austin Parry Show. And please visit my website, everybody. It is austinparry.org, and that's spelled P-A-R-R-Y. And that will help to support my video content into the future, and that's where you can find all of my work. And so everybody, have a great night. Thanks for watching. Love and peace, and goodbye.